Oh, hey, we're getting unwhelmed. SMART goals, as you're probably aware, is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. The MAD-AF acronym breaks down as motivating, aligned, deadline driven, ambitious, and focused. You can see a lot of overlap between MAD-AF and SMART, and that's great. That's exactly what you want. You want whatever acronym or whatever method works for you. I'm not here to sell you on SMART goals or MAD-AF goals or even the hourglass that we'll talk about. I'm here to say if there is an acronym that helps you decide what's relevant or how these goals might work for you, use it. So then the question is, how do you set those goals? And the next question is, how do you get there? How do you get them to SMART or MAD-AF or whatever it is you're using? I use two components in most of my goal setting, and I use these because I'm a visual thinker. I use shapes. My favorite sociology and statistic professor, Erica Durkis, introduced me to a funnel philosophy. She often would encourage us to start our thinking about a research topic in terms of a funnel. And at the widest point of the funnel at the top would be the broadest category of research that you might be looking into. And from there, you would narrow it to a specific geographic region or population or issue. And from there, even more narrow, who specifically is impacted? What is the very specific region? Why are you choosing this particular focus? And from there, it would continue to narrow until you ended up eventually with your specific area of research and often your thesis. So I've used funnels in writing and teaching writing for several years now, and it's incredibly effective for me. It helps me take all of this big goals and dreams and really narrow them down to a very specific point. So if you're using the funnels to find out what's your next step, you will start with a specific goal that you have. And it doesn't have to be specific, measurable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just something that you want to do. I'll back up one piece and say that when you're beginning a business or you're deciding your direction, it may be hard to think of just a single goal, or you may not want to jump into the process of working through those goals and getting them very specific until you really know kind of everything that's out there. So, of course, we will have worksheets for you and some journal prompts and writing, but you can get really, really basic. You can go back to my old friend sticky notes, and you can use Post-its. You can use a big piece of paper and a poster paper and big markers. You can just use scratch paper. You can just use a sheet of paper with a specific kind of area of goals in the middle and do really I call it a brain dump. People call it a mind map. But basically, it's a brainstorming session with yourself. You can do this with other people. But if you are a startup or an entrepreneur or a sole proprietor, you'll start with your own ideas. So you just start with your goal or your topic or something you want to do right in the middle of your paper and draw a circle around it. And then think about all of the components of that. So back to the book. If I'm writing a book, and write a book is in the middle of my circle. And then I go, oh, what do I need to do to write a book? Oh, I need an outline. I need a thesis. I need chapter titles. I need a structure. I need et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when I was beginning the planning of writing this book, I did just that. I just mapped out all the components. From each of those components, if there's a piece that goes into that sub piece, You draw another circle around that and lines to other circles. From those big pieces, you can take each of those goals, each of those sub pieces, and you can work out what are the goals and the components of that goal. You may find that some group together. Of course, I love to use Post-its because you can rearrange them. This is a place where you can start, and if you get stuck, you can call in help. Or you can, if you just feel like this piece is overwhelming, you can get help from a friend who understands your business. There's a term called thought partner that I just hate, but I can't find. It's just so overused. I can't find another word or phrase for it. So just somebody smart who can help you. I'm smart and I can help you. Just spoiler alert. And you can really say, is this component relevant to this larger goal? Does it work? How do I measure it? You can use MAD AF to determine those big goals. And when you break them down, you can use SMART to decide if that's going to work. Going back to the funnel, if you start with your largest piece of goal, write a book. From there, you're going to narrow it down. What do I think needs to happen to get a book written? Well, I need an outline, but that's going to be pretty close to the first step. So that's going to go very close to the bottom of that funnel. Well, what needs to go into an outline? Oh, I need to understand what topics I'm going to discuss. That will be somewhere in the middle of the funnel. You start with the broadest and you ask yourself all the W's. Why am I writing the book? For whom? What's it going to say? When is it going to be produced? And you keep narrowing down until you get to your next step. Every piece of that MAD AF goal can be a SMART goal. So for instance, if I were writing a book theoretically, allegedly, I maybe would have said, I'm going to take 4 days and do what Kara Stein calls the Berserker Method, where I'm going to shut off the rest of the world, go rent a little Airbnb, and just immerse myself in the process. That's what I did. And for every chapter, I had an outline, and for every chapter, I had components. And so every piece of that goal became a SMART goal in and of itself. That is really helpful when you have a goal, say, for this week or month or even quarter. But how do you stay on top of those goals and stay on top of that progress when you have a really long-term goal like a TED Talk? How do I tell that I'm making progress? How do I find out if it's working or not working? This is where the second half of the hourglass comes in, and that is your actions. So my actions are focused on a nexus point where my actions meet my goals. So the bottom of an hourglass, that is a pyramid or a triangle with the point at the top, however you want to visualize it or describe it. The piece that is at the top of that pyramid in the example of writing my book is finish my first draft, let's say. Well, what needs to happen? What do I need to do to get to that piece? I need to finish every chapter. What do I need to do to finish those chapters? I need to have these components. Say there's 5 things on the checklist. And what do I need to do to make that happen? That's what I'm doing today. So at the bottom of this pyramid or triangle are the daily actions you are doing every day. They're the things that you can check off every day, every week, every month. Did I do these things? Those things lead me to the next step. Did I do these things in a larger sense? So did I complete chapters? Yes, because I did all of these things. I have these chapters. That means I have a whole first draft of a book. Check off those. And then it brings me to the activity of finishing the final draft of the book. That is a measurable and specific, attainable, relevant, time-bound piece of my strategic plan that leads to the goal of getting a book published. So I can see that my daily actions every day lead me to a specific outcome, which feeds into my goals. You can use the pyramid or the funnel every single day. You can use it to govern your daily or weekly activities. I like to, when I am having a weekly meeting with myself, that's the most important person in my business and the most important meeting I take every week. I like to review my goal funnel and my activities pyramid in the hourglass, because I look at it visually and I say, am I doing this? Is the base of my pyramid the strongest piece? Am I taking action every single day that builds the foundation to get me to these goals? And are these big goals still where I want to go? And are my interim goals aligned to that big goal? Oh, hey, we're getting unwhelmed. And as always, you can catch all of our recordings on our website at unwhelmcoaching.com.